assembly of Intel processors in Costa Rica, manufacturing of satellites in Argentina, technological unicorns in El Salvador. Despite Latin America being one of the regions with the least investment in innovation and technology in recent years, there has been some progress. However, in the case of the Dominican Republic, despite being one of the countries with the highest growth in the region, that growth has not been reflected in the field of technology. In recent years, the economic growth of the Dominican Republic has been solid, with annual rates generally ranging between 4% and 7%. For example, in 2019, the GDP grew by around 5.1%, according to data from the Central Bank of the Dominican Republic. Tourism. Tourism is one of the pillars of the Dominican economy. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the country experienced constant growth in the number of visitors. In 2019, the Dominican Republic received around 7.5 million international tourists, according to the World Tourism Organization. Foreign direct investment. The Dominican Republic has been an attractive destination for foreign investment, especially in sectors such as tourism, manufacturing, and energy. According to data from the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, FDI in the Dominican Republic reached $3.3 billion in 2019. Remittances. Remittances have been an important source of income for the Dominican economy. In 2019, remittances received by the country reached approximately $8.5 billion, according to the Central Bank of the Dominican Republic. Free Trade Zone Sector. The free trade zone sector of the Dominican Republic has experienced significant growth in recent years. According to data from the Dominican Free Trade Zone Association, exports from free trade zones reached $7.3 billion in 2019, representing around 57% of the country's total exports. However, despite all these figures, the Dominican Republic has not been able to stand out in terms of technological advances. On the contrary, over the past 3 years, the Dominican Republic has regressed both in economic growth and innovation. For example, according to the 2023 edition of the Global Innovation Index, the Dominican Republic has dropped 4 positions compared to the previous year in the Global Innovation Index, ranking 94th out of 132 economies. At the regional level, the country ranks 11th out of 19 economies in Latin America and the Caribbean. Economically, the Dominican Republic has also regressed in the last 3 years. For example, on January 3rd of this year, the prestigious economic magazine The Banker highlights how in the year 2023, the Dominican Republic had the lowest economic growth in the last 10 years. Even with an economic growth averaging 5% before 2020, the Dominican Republic could not develop in innovation and technology. We cannot expect it to be an exception now. It is worth noting that the Dominican Republic is one of the countries that invests the least in innovation in the region. For example, according to a report from the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, entitled Unleashing Innovation, Assessing the Role of Agricultural R&D in Latin America and the Caribbean, it provides an in-depth examination of recent trends in spending, public research capacity, and its results across the region. According to that report, below the average are Guatemala, Honduras, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, and Argentina. It argues that countries with innovation capacity above the regional average have higher levels of human capital, an environment conducive to the development of innovations, and greater research capacity than those below the average. The Dominican Republic only dedicates 0.03% of its gross domestic product, GDP, to research, when Latin America, which is already lagging behind in the subject, invests just over 1%. You can follow me on my social media, Twitter, Slara Pedro, Instagram, Pedro Lara Peguero, TikTok, Pedro Lara Dev.